It's done! I built a pool, guys. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. After many questions, this video is coming in to save the day. If you couldn't tell by the title, I will be giving you the step-by-step process of how I built my pallet swimming pool. Ta-da! Wonderful, so excited. I got hair in my mouth. Okay, so it was a lot of fun, and here's how I did it. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Before you even start with the tools, you need inspiration. So for me, I had an idea of what I wanted my pool to look like, but I didn't really know exactly how I was going to go about doing that. So I went to www.pinterest.com, and Pinterest is clutch when you are looking for DIY projects and you have an idea, but you just don't really know exactly how it might end up looking. Pinterest is the way to go. So you need inspiration first. So basically, I had the idea in my head, I looked up some references on Pinterest, and I kind of cut and pasted things together, and that's how I came up with the idea for my pool. And then, once I had my idea, I had to consult the boys to figure out how I was going to build this. No, but Deb, this is a project. Like, the point of this is to build something. Good morning, James. We are going to my dad's shop to pick up the pallets that we're going to be building the swimming pool with, bring them home, and figure out how we're going to build this thing. So the materials I ended up using were 8 pallets, one 12-foot pallet for the base, a bunch of screws, plywood, 2x4s for reinforcements, 2x8 boards for the railings, 6 mil heavy poly, a blue tarp, blue tuck tape, staple gun, chlorine pucks with a rubber duck, filter, a pump, a pool cover, another tarp for a cover, and bungee cords to keep it in place. Okay, so once I had my idea, and then once I had the boys to help me, and we got all our materials together, it was time to start building. And this is the step-by-step process of how we put the pool together. By the way, if you haven't seen my DIY pool video, that's a great video in my opinion, not just because I made it, but because I think it's actually really cool. And it'll show you how I fully built it. This is just a more in-depth explanation as to how I built it and the order into why I did it in the way that I did. But go check out that video if you haven't yet, and that'll definitely help you with some references. So the first thing we did is we laid down the 12-foot pallet as the base, and we put plywood on top and screwed the plywood in. My brother James taught me how to chalk lines because if you've seen the video, you'll know that I needed all the help I could get. Then what we did was we took the 8 pallets and we drilled them into place, and that was what we used for the sides. We used a leveler to make it as straight as possible. It wasn't perfect, but I mean, it worked out well. So if you're using a leveler and it's a little bit off, don't worry too much. All pallets are all made differently. You're never gonna find ones that are exactly the same, especially the ones that we had. So whatever you end up with, as long as it looks somewhat straight, you're good enough. Then what we did next is we cut a bunch of plywood strips to fill in the gaps of the pallets. The thing with anything holding water is that it's gonna want to expand. So your structure might look stable, but honestly, the more reinforcements that you have, the better. So in my opinion, put as many plywood pieces, fill in as many gaps as you can if you're using pallets, because the more gaps you'll fill, the more stronger, I don't know if you can say that, the sturdier your pool will be.
That sounds good.
And then once that was done, we did even more reinforcements, and we took some 2x4s to reinforce the sides. Now after we had the complete structure built of the pool, it was time to line it. So what we did is we bought a blue tarp and we lined the pool with the tarp, and we used the staple gun to hold it in place. This is one of 2 things that I've been getting the most questions about, was what type of poly did we use. We just used 6 mil heavy poly. You can get it at any hardware store. You just go and you find the thickest poly you can. And why we got it was because we wanted to really make sure that the water wouldn't leak out. So what we did is we bought this super duty heavy poly, we cut it to size, and then again we lined the pool with it, we stapled it into place, and I'm really thankful that we did because it's really helped to keep the water in, and I'm not as worried about poking a hole in the tarp because we've got some extra protection. Now, depending on the size of your pool, the poly might not fit exactly, so just like mine, what we did is we bought blue tuck tape, not duct tape, tuck tape, and that really helped keep it together. But if I was going to redo that, I would have used way more tuck tape because in this case, when you're building something like this, the more materials you use, the better. So the more plywood, the better. The more 2x4s, the better. The more reinforcements, the more screws, and the more tuck tape you use, the better it'll be. Now, once we got the poly measured into the pool, it was all lined. We took the 2x8s and we used them as railings, and that just really made the structure even more structurally sound, and it held it all together even better. And it also, in my opinion, made the pool look even more aesthetically pleasing, and I'm all about the aesthetic, and so I was very pleased with the final result. So then once we finished building the main structure, we did a couple things afterwards that kind of just really enhanced the pool. So the first thing we did is once the main pool was done, my dad built me a set of stairs so I could get into the pool safely. I didn't want to be jumping and hurting myself getting into the pool, so the steps have been a key feature. The next thing he did was he made a cute little towel rack, so when I come out here and it's a little bit cold, I can hang up my parka and I can hang up my towel, and I don't have to leave it on the side of the pool, it doesn't get wet, and it's just a fun little accessory. Now after the water was in, we needed a way to treat it, so we bought a bunch of chlorine pucks and a little floating duck, and that has been great. It's been keeping the water clean. I've had this pool now since April and we've had no problems at all whatsoever. It's been wonderful. And then 2 weeks later, after finishing building the pool and having the chlorine pucks, we invested in the filter because filtering out old water and putting in new water has been really helpful in keeping the pool nice and clean, and I've been able to use it for the past 4 months. Now, alright, so this is probably the most asked question I've been getting, and I'm gonna answer it now. How do I heat my pool? Well, the way that I heat it is definitely a process. So what we do is about an hour before I want to go in, we pump out about a third of the water that's in the pool. This really helps keep the water fresher because we are constantly pumping out old water and pumping new water back in. Then what we do is we run a hose from the hot water tank in the house and we pump in 2 rounds of boiling water. This process takes about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how fast we do it. And then once that's all done, the water is a lot more bearable to swim in, and I can get in and get out, do my workout, and get done what I need to get done. Oh, okay, so now this wouldn't be a tutorial video if I didn't share what I didn't know about this process before starting. So I'm going to share these with you just so you guys are more aware of what I was not aware of when I started. I'm not a builder, and I didn't even know how to use a drill before I started, so I kind of just had this idea and I thought, oh yeah, pallets, screws, tarp, water, it'll be perfect. I didn't know how many little steps that I was going to need to do in order to make this pool happen. So just be aware that there's probably going to be a lot more little things that you'll need to do than you will be, and you'll be better off than I was. The second thing I didn't know about was how cold the water was going to be. If you saw my video, my dad warned me how cold it was going to be. I kind of brushed it off. It was very cold, and so if you are wanting to build a pool and you don't want to use it for training, you want to use it for the summer, for kids to swim in, for you to just chill after work, I would invest in a heater. You will get your money's worth if you build your pool properly. Now the third thing I didn't know was that because we built the pool so far away from our house, it's not feasible for us to run an entire electrical thing out here to have an actual heater. So for us, that's just not possible, but if you are really keen on building a pool and you want your water a little bit warmer, definitely plan out where you're going to build your pool and if electrical and heating and anything like that would be possible. And I do know that there are some other ways like solar panels and different things to heat your pool. For us, I'm just gonna have to suck it up. That's not really gonna be an option, but there are plenty of ways that you can heat your pool and you can make it work. And then what is this now? The fourth thing I didn't know was that there would be massive bubbles that form in between the tarp and the poly. If you end up using my method of using the tarp and then the poly with the tuck tape, don't worry and don't freak out too much if there are big bubbles between the two. We just didn't tape it well enough, so if you end up taping it, tape it a lot, and hopefully your bubbles won't be as big as mine. But don't freak out, but that was something I wasn't expecting, was these big massive bubbles forming in between the tarp and the poly. Now, last thing that I wasn't expecting was how popular this video would get. Like, my mind has been blown with the feedback, the support, your guys' nice comments, and just your desire to build pools after you've seen mine. That is super encouraging and exciting for me, but I had no idea that this video would take off the way that it did. I just wanted to build a pool because I needed a project, and I'm a swimmer, so I felt like I needed a pool, especially during this pandemic. So this just goes to show who knows what a little project will turn into, and I'm very grateful for you guys and all your love and support, so thank you for that, and thank you for making my pool just so exciting. And there you have it. That is how I built my pool. So if you're wanting to build a pool, really all you need is some inspiration. You need the tools to be able to do it. You need nice weather always helps. You need motivation to actually get it done. And you also need a willingness to challenge yourself. Again, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the things that you see me doing in my video, I had never done before, so I learned a lot during this process. But thankfully, I had the right people around me to teach me and guide me and help me to make my pool become a reality. We're only on this earth for a short time, pun intended. And so I say just make the most of it. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. I hope this tutorial helps. I hope it's answered some of your questions. I hope that you guys want to go out and build your own pools. It's really fun. It's a challenge, but it has been the coolest experience to be able to say that I built my own swimming pool. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Well, I won't see you, but you guys will see me next time on another episode of This Little Light.